Welcome to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast, where we mix business, law of attraction, spirituality, and well being with great guests and phenomenal stories. You'll hear hints, tips, and up to the minute information on digital communication from an expert in her field. Pearl has some wonderful individuals in her networks, and she will be interviewing them all at some point in the future. Enjoy your listening.
Well, hello and welcome to another of the Pearls of Wisdom interview series. And again, today I'm speaking to a wonderful author that's part of the Mission Hope series, which is a mini series we're running on the podcast. And the lady I'm speaking to today, we've been connected on LinkedIn for quite a while, and she's just wonderful. And I'm so excited to be speaking to Dr. Joanne White. Welcome, Joanne. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Pearl. It's a pleasure to be here, and I so appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. This is going to be special. I can already feel the energy. The energy with this, it will be so good. And as I say, I'm going to remember to say this early to all of the listeners before you go any further. Press pause, go get yourself a pad and paper and take notes, because you will want to learn from this wonderful lady. So make sure you've got that. So without further ado, I will ask you, Joanne, what does Mission Hope mean to you?
Well, I've been in other anthologies, and Mission Hope, firstly, I love the title because hope is so important in our lives, no matter what we're doing, no matter where we are in our lives. Hope gives us more of a sense of being able to move on, even if we've had trials and tribulations and other kinds of things going on. And it can uplift us. It's like, wow, okay, so I've been through this, but I can go ahead. I can move forward. And that to me, Pearl, is so very important. And each one of the books just, I mean, when I write, firstly, I write very much from my heart. And it's also helped me, helped me reach really deeply inside and bring out some stuff that may initially have been painful or a little bit scary to share or something like that. But it also elevates me and helps me heal. And also, the hope is the hope, right? The
Yeah.
hope is to help other people. Now, yesterday I was on the group and somebody said something about feeling vulnerable. And oftentimes, and I was thinking about that because oftentimes people are afraid to feel vulnerable. And I've always written that vulnerability is a strength. It really is. So when authors, like all the authors yesterday and myself, share some of their personal stuff that they've had to really dig in and transform themselves, whatever, they're tapping in, I know I have, into our vulnerability. What it does is it gives other people, Pearl, a permission to tap into their own and to be able to share and say, okay, hey, this happened to me, or but it's really important because when we, and I work with a lot of clients, when we push stuff down, we're hurting ourselves. So if somebody is sharing and giving you permission to be able to share and say, it's okay to share this. I'm not going to be blamed. I'm not going to be criticized. I'm not going, whatever. I think it's a breath of fresh air.
Oh, that is so, so special. And I couldn't agree more. I can remember when I first started looking at sort of coaching, and I got invited to watch one of the Tony Robbins um practices. And it all started off where everyone was asking you to talk about where you've been vulnerable, where was your starting point. And at the time, I didn't want to know with that. I was flying high, I was on the corporate ladder, and I didn't want to say what I'd said before, because to me, that showed my vulnerability. Like you were saying, I wanted to show I'm a businesswoman, I'm corporate, I want people to hire me, so I don't want to put that face there. But it's surprising when you do share that authentic side of you, it really resonates with far more people. But I really had to move my ego out the way, really, really big time to actually think about that. And it's like you say, when you get the biggest growth when you want to do something, but it's scary. You get those butterflies in the pit of your tummy, not the nice ones, the nasty ones where you don't want to do anything. And when you push yourself through that, the growth the other side
Right.
is probably higher than you'd ever get doing
It's
anything else.
so very true, and it helps other people grow too. Now, it took me a long time to share my vulnerability about my brain that works differently, more so because I had to live through a lot of criticism and making me feel that I couldn't think, I wasn't able to do anything. And I guess and I didn't really analyze it, but I guess I must have been concerned that that would pop up again after all the work I had done to kind of silence it in my brain.
Yeah,
But it's so healing. It really is healing, even if you have to go through it again to be able to present it. So it's important. And and we're moving a little bit away from Mission Hope, but I don't think so, because I think when we let people see that vulnerability, that I'm going to call it that raw stuff sometimes, and it
yeah,
is raw, it gives some people permission. And like I said, and when I work with clients, sometimes I share a little bit of that stuff to give them permission to open up. Well, because somebody will say, well, I'm nervous, I don't know. And there has to be an element of trust in that too. And what's wonderful about Mission Hope is that I talked about trust. There's a community. I haven't been that active in it, but I can feel it and connect with it. And there's something very special about that you don't ordinarily see.
yeah. That, and I'd agree with you there. As I'm meeting all the different authors, there's a special energy that runs through like a nucleus. I'd say that like Shah and Dominic, that center nucleus that reach
Right.
out, but the supportiveness, especially where we've been recording the panels, where some of the authors they hadn't actually met before. All right, we're on a screen and we could be thousands of miles away, but the fact that they actually got to see what another author looked like because all they'd seen are those beautiful words on the page, but they managed to actually put a face to those words, and it makes such a difference.
It really does. And it's also important that readers
Yeah,
see more than just a page, that they can see, wow, these people are real.
yeah,
It's not just a story but they are sharing their feelings, they're being open, they're sharing what happened to them, and they're giving us guidance from their experiences to help us grow and also to help us share. And
yeah.
that's important, very important.
And the quality of the written work, that is what blows me away. And listening to all the different authors that I've interviewed, especially people that have been there from the very first um, volume right the way through. And yes, they've grown in themselves and actually sharing their story, but the quality of the work they produce has changed and grown with them as the series has progressed.
Right, right.
And that's so special because, I mean, a lot of people, yes, you write essays to get you through degrees and to do exams and everything, but you don't always write. Some people, yes, they're born knowing that they're going to be a writer and that's all they do is write. But it's an art form to actually learn how to share that message. And it depends what you're feeling, because sometimes you have to be so dedicated because you've got that deadline, and you might think, well, I don't want to write today. I don't feel drawn to it. And it's finding that. I mean, do you have a process that you follow for those days that you don't want to write? Do you just say, no, I'm going to listen to what what my feeling is, or do you say, no, I'm going to go out and do something? I mean, I go and walk in nature. If I know I've got something to do, I will share in nature first.
I walk in nature too. And my writing is very much heartfelt, so it comes that way too. And but sometimes when I'm sitting and trying to write and nothing is coming up, I get up and I dance.
Wow.
And
Yes.
and I mean, it's just like nothing special, but it kind of it makes me feel good. It gets the creative process going a little bit, and then I can get back and be in flow. I'm also very guided when I write, so that I feel like I have inner support that's helping me, and that's a gift too. And I'm sure many write, well, I don't know, but I would think that there are many writers
Yeah.
that do feel that way, that the process we're being helped along,
Yes.
which is a wonderful thing, really very special. I wanted to say something because back to vulnerability a little bit,
Yeah.
and also to the books, the series Mission Hope. There was in one of the books I was writing about something and sharing information about it's important to forgive, it's important to have, gratitude and grace and whatever. And in the book, I write about it, but it really brought up a very personal experience that helped me heal it. And I wrote in the book, if I'm writing this, I have to be true to myself too,
Yeah.
in real life. And I healed a relationship that needed to be healed, that really was, had broken me and the person for a little bit of time. And it was really very uplifting. I use that word a lot today because it helped, and the writing made me see, wait a minute, you can't just put words. You've got to be,
Yeah.
there's something going on in your life. You've got to be able to face it. And I was afraid a little bit to face it, but writing gave me the courage too, Pearl, to be
Mm.
able to do that. And the relationship blossomed because of that, which is wonderful.
Oh, that is so, so special. And that takes so much bravery as well, like you said, because you're a bigger person than I am, because I can get quite stroppy. I really can, Mrs. Me.
Well,
And
I
I'm
was angry and I wasn't going to do anything for a while and whatever, but then but then writing and seeing how forgiveness is important, and also when the other person, and I wrote this too in the chapter, when another person harms you or upsets you in some way, they may have an afterthought afterwards that makes them feel badly too about what
yeah,
happened. And this person did, but we never talked about it. We just like, okay,
yeah.
very grateful that I had that opportunity, because not only helping other people, but it brought something beautiful together that was really very important.
Oh, that is so wonderful, and I think all the listeners can really resonate with that because I think we've all been there, and it's just we go back to that bravery piece as well, and actually saying, right, I'm going to do the work. I am going to take this head on and do something about it. Because again, it might be something you don't want to touch. You don't want to open that box up. It's got to stay in one place and you don't
Right,
want to look
right.
there. And yet, when you open that lid, sometimes there's quite a learning curve involved. But when you're through the other side, it's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and you're right. It takes courage. It's like, wait a minute. Can I really do this? Do I really want it? Yes. Look at what's happened when you forgive someone, when you really talk about, well, I don't know if I can trust you anymore. I don't know. And you're able to talk about it, even if tears are, whatever it
Mm.
is, and something shifts and something can change in a beautiful way. And and if I hadn't written that chapter, who knows, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I might still be in the other place.
But it's almost, if you don't go through that, you've always got that what if idea in the
Right.
back of your mind. And when you have done it, I mean, what it is, it's a famous quote, isn't it? What if? And you say all the negatives, and then they come back and say, but what if you get a
Right,
fantastic
right,
response. And it is, I mean, I haven't done it justice because my menopausal brain is telling me I can't remember all of it, but I know every listener will know exactly what we're talking about. And it's so special to do that. And you take the audience with you when you're sharing that. And also, once you've gone through something and you've pushed yourself and you're through the other side, it's amazing what you can do in the future because the fear isn't there anymore, or it might be there, but you're braver. You think, yes, because you know what I was saying about the butterflies, the nice ones that yes, you're scared, but you do it because you know it's going to be a good reward at the end. And
right,
then you'll do it, but those ones that, yeah, you're not sure. And
right.
but again, intuitively, you and I are very intuitive, and it's almost like sometimes that can be to our detriment because that little voice is telling you, you don't want to do that, you don't want to do that. But inside, you're thinking, yes, but I have to do that because this is my learning curve.
Well, I believe that you got to separate that voice that's scary or negative or whatever from what's really the inner guidance. I trust my inner guidance more than, and I've worked with that over the years and teach people how to do that. But it's very important to be able to access that inside of you and know that that's the right information. A little bit of aside from Mission Hope, I was working with someone who was getting very intuitive information when she was younger about actually hearing, seeing somebody on a relative that had passed over that she never met.
Mm.
And also getting other information. And oftentimes family doesn't understand or think you're, no, wait a minute.
Yeah,
And so you have to live with that, but you also have to be able to, if you're getting information and guidance, it's a gift that you
yeah,
need to really utilize, and that's important. And I think many of the authors have tapped in and they may not have even known about the gift that they have in terms of writing. Writing is not easy. It's not easy. I love writing. I mean, I have journals from long, long time ago, that every once in a while I open up and I go, is that me?
yes, yeah. And it's so, so special. And where you were saying, like when we were saying about it being a craft of writing, quite often I believe that we all have a muse. Some of the people I'm connected to, I will always say guides and angels, whereas they will call their connection their muse. And so it makes a slight difference. But I
Doesn't
really
matter.
think I
Right,
really
right,
think it's
right.
channeled. And a lot of what the authors are sharing sometimes it is that channel piece because quite often I will say things on interviews and I don't remember what I've said because it's my guides that have channeled through that
Yeah.
that's the message I need to give.
And that's beautiful. And that's also so, like you said, with writing. I think we do have inner guidance and we do have angels or guides or whatever you want to call them. I don't necessarily call them the muse because I work with guides and angels and my higher self and all of that. But it's wonderful to be able to tap into that, not just for writing, and this is also for our listeners, for your life.
Yeah,
It feels so important to be able to feel that you have that support and
yeah,
somebody might say, well, wait a minute, you can't see it, you can't, but you can feel it
yeah, yeah.
and then begin to trust it. And that's incredibly special, very special. Now, let's get back a little bit to Mission Hope.
Yes, definitely. See, I could talk to you all day and
Yeah, I
literally
feel the
you
same.
so ask him about Mission Hope. First of all, how many volumes have you been involved with?
I've only missed one.
Right, right. So
And
there, so
that's because
you've
of other responsibilities that I had to take care of, right?
yeah,
But what I did was I interviewed the authors on that too, because I felt like I needed to contribute something. Because again, it feels like a collective family, right?
yes, yes, and it's
Yeah,
so, so special with that.
right.
Would
Right.
you say that your writing style has changed? Where we talked about the difference where people have started writing. I mean, you've got a really strong background in writing, but
I
would you
don't know
say
that.
it's grown or it's
Yeah, I don't
changed?
know that it's changed, but it always grows. I mean, it's like being able to share more or tap into more or focusing on something else that I wasn't aware of, like I've mentioned before,
Mm.
that relationship. Or so it does grow. Um, and it's to me, writing is it's just very special. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not, I do other things, but it's very, very special. And I'm often very guided. I had a dream, I'm getting off again. I had a dream that was very interesting, and I started to write something based on the dream, which came, I don't know where it's going, but it's like, wait a minute. And it was very different from the kind of stuff that I write. So, and writing can challenge us, just
Yeah.
like taking on a new sport or a new activity. You kind of have to immerse yourself in it and look at the vulnerability that we talked about and what you want to say and what really is
Mm.
important, all the different things. And also, like, what does it mean to contribute to gratitude and grace? What does it mean to you? What does that mean to share with people? And also hope and love and the new book, Joy. And that's exciting because that's coming out this week.
It
We
is.
talked about that yesterday. Now, joy to me, I've been like everybody, I've been through a lot of challenges, and joy has helped me through it. Now, somebody would say, that's ridiculous. How could joy help you through something? Because we could look at everything and all the terrible or angry or things in our lives that have gone wrong, okay? And we could focus on them. But focusing on them doesn't change that at all. Like I say to my clients, worry, and fear doesn't change anything. If it changed something, that would be great. And I'm not saying don't acknowledge it or don't have it. We all go through that. We do. But then you've got to be able to shift it and say, wait a minute. And joy is a beautiful gift that's within us that we can tap into. And when we do, and again, I've wrote about this in the chapter. When we do, it helps us see things in a different way. It helps us feel really good about and be able, and again, it brings in more hope. It really does. It's like, okay. And in the chapter, I wrote about a friend of mine that had passed away just while I was working on that. And this has been a dear friend of mine for like many, many, many years. And I was grieving. I was really grieving. But then what I did, and I mentioned this in the chapter, was I started to look at some of the wonderful experiences that we had that brought joy, that brought lightness, that brought connection, that brought fun. And it felt good. Yes, I'll never be with that person again in that form, but it made me see the beauty of the relationship, the gift of being in that relationship. And it gave me a sense of joy because I had that experience. And I may not have ever had that experience, but I did. And why say, well, it's never going to happen and it's gone? And why not say, wow, look at the gift I had of having this friend that I cherish for so many years and how we grew together as friends and move forward in our lives because of that.
And this is what is so special. This is what I love about Mission Hope. All the authors, what they contribute to these anthologies, you've actually got your readers can travel with you and think, oh, if they've got through it, I can get through it. And all right, it might almost be a foreshadowing of something that someone hasn't experienced yet, but by reading your work and seeing how you coped and how you can look back and find the joy in something, even though there's great sadness, that that is a wonderful thing. And this is what I love so much about Mission Hope. I mean, I bang on about this for every interview I do, but I think this should be in every family, that it should be part of a stock library that everyone has, and that you revisit the series, and each volume you could just open it on any page and read a paragraph, and that will resonate with you that day. You might read the same paragraph the next day, but because you're coming at it from a different direction or a different feeling and emotion, it will engage with you, interact with you in a completely different way. And that's how, and if you can bring whole families and generations up with that, so that they are prepared and they can see how each author has gone through that particular journey. This is what, see, I love it. I love it.
And it also, like we talked about, it also helps the author. I mean, sometimes it's about really facing uncomfortable situations or fearful ones or sad ones and being able to walk through them as you're writing about them and maybe get a different perspective and one that can actually help somebody who's reading it and touch them in a way that it can shift something in them. It could transform the way of thinking or feeling or relationship or something
Yeah.
that can have a beautiful response, which is I think is awesome.
It
Really
is,
do.
it's wonderful. And I've just realised I didn't ask you, how did you get involved with Mission Hope? Had you been connected to Shah for a while?
I think, well, Shar and I feel like we're soul sisters, so I don't know how we could. I think we connected on LinkedIn and or Facebook, and that relationship just grew, and here we are, right?
Yeah.
And more to come.
Yeah. And this is what's so special as well when you listen to all the different authors and how they first connected with Shah. And quite so many were Shah said, yes, will you take part in the series? And I think we heard a few people share on the panels that to begin with they're thinking, no, I can't do that, I can't do that. But this wonderful woman, Shah Murphy, she's got this energy that she can cajole you into doing something that you think initially, no, don't have the time, can't do it. And yet just by gentle persuasion and her energy, you start to be part of one volume, and then it goes on, and before you know it, you've taken part in practically every book in the series.
Well, I felt that from the beginning, so
Yeah.
I wasn't going to
Yeah.
back out because I'm very much connected to energy and like you are, and I'm an energy healer, and so that's really important. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Okay, did you not see me for a minute?
No,
Because
I could see you, but it
oh,
was a little
okay,
bit of
because
blurring around
yeah,
it.
the
But
screen got this blue thing around it, but I'm back. So,
but you
which
see, you were talking about energy, and you see, I'd say it's our energy that's giving it the giving it the
the energy
fluence, as
started
it were.
exploding. And energy, well, let's get to energy a little bit. The energy that we're putting into these books. Now, I work with energy and help people. I'm a Reiki master teacher. And if we're spreading joy and love and hope and gratitude, and we're sharing it and we're feeling it and it's coming up out through us, it's actually from an energetic perspective, Pearl, going
Yeah,
out into the world. And I love that because through the Mission Hope, we are generating more hope, more love, more, more gratitude, more grace, more joy. And to me, that's helpful, excuse me, in transforming our world and ourselves. And we need that.
yeah. And I couldn't agree
Okay.
more. I mean, it's almost like we're mirroring what each other are thinking, because I was thinking exactly the same thing. And the fact that you've got authors from a global perspective and we look at the current situation, and yes, you could wallow in all the scary stuff, and that there's wars and there's that and there's this and there's that, and then you can flip that on its head and
Right.
look at Mission Hope and what all the positivity that the writers give, and that you can you could change the whole perspective literally, because it's like a domino effect, isn't it, that you
Right.
share and share, and where people were sad and scared, they read something that gives them hope and joy and gratitude, and it's completely changed that. And like the whole energy thing, it's like a ripple effect, isn't it?
Right, it definitely is. So when they feel that, they're sharing that with their family, with friends, with strangers, whatever, and it just goes and goes and goes. And Shar mentioned something about that in terms of her rationale for putting this together, which is so very important. Now, I want to say that, we're not saying don't feel the fear,
Mm.
don't feel what's going, don't pay attention to any. That's
Mm.
not what we're
No.
saying. I mean, sometimes I'll look at the news and I'll cry,
Yeah.
and then I'll go out and walk and be in nature and do my inner work or whatever, and I'm back into my joy.
Yeah.
So it's not about negating that stuff, but it's more like stop dwelling on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
well, how is it changing anything to dwell on it? And from an energetic perspective, the more you focus on, and I wrote about this in one of the chapters, the more you focus on that, the more you're putting that not out in your own life, but in the world. So we have a choice. Do we want to continue to focus on the horrific things that are happening? And I'm not saying, okay, that's okay that it's happening. No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
But to make changes in the world, it's
Yeah.
about bringing up that other energy. Okay, this is, bringing up more light. So wait a minute, let's change this war because there's more light coming in. Now, it may sound simplistic to a lot of people, but there's been a lot of research, you and I know, about energy, how it affects plants, how it affects animals, how it affects so many different things. And so you can't really turn your back to that.
Yeah.
And that's important. And I think that's the energy, the beautiful energy in the Mission Hope series does that. It just brings up more of what we're writing about so that it does go out into the world, not just by one person or two people, but a group of people, and then sharing it, and then more and more and more. Like you said, let's do it
Yeah.
with a family. Who's to say what can happen?
Oh,
It's good.
yes.
All
It is.
right.
It's wonderful. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Mission Hope started in the middle of the madness that was lockdown. I think because a few of the people I've spoken to, they've actually said about they were writing during lockdown. But I could be confused with that.
I'm not remembering the time frame,
No.
but probably because I don't remember, but probably so.
And when you look at that, I mean, that was a time of some really scary thoughts, and people could run away. They'd say one thing, and conspiracy theories would send it further and further and further. Whereas everything that Mission Hope did brought it back to positivity. It gave people a reason to think, yes, that I felt that, they felt it the same, and they're bringing some joy into our lives. And like you were saying with the energy, both you and I work with manifestation as well.
Right,
And I've
right.
always been taught that you do the work, you cause a vacuum, and you cause the vacuum to call in all the good stuff that you've been working towards. And it's learning to do that and understanding it, because so many people, this is me getting on my high horse again, so many people will do this for clickbait on social platforms, and they will say, um 888, write 888 in the comments and you will manifest this, that and the other. No, you won't. You've got to do the work and actually understand it and move that energy. And it's understanding that and no, and can't putting it into brackets. That's the word, so you can't say it. My menopausal brain is saying so getting confused.
But you're right about it because again, it's not always easy, like to be able to work with the negative thoughts that used to go on in my head about my worth, about my abilities or whatever. Changing that took time.
Yeah,
You know, I had incorporated what other people had told me because my brain worked differently, and I believed it, and then I internalized it. And there are many people that do that because of families or comparison or, whatever it is. But then what can happen is your brain goes wild, your mind starts beating you up. And I mean, if it continued, I would still be immobilized like I was when my brain was constantly telling me negative things. But when you do the work,
yeah,
and I think that's also important about Mission Hope because not only are we sharing, we're doing the work as we're sharing,
yeah,
but we're also giving people hope and energy to be able to do that within themselves and for themselves. And when you start doing the work, people change. I work with some clients and they think, okay, it's automatic. We're just gonna, and it's a process. I mean,
yeah,
sorry, I'm not a magician, although we are on several levels, but you do have to do the work. And sometimes it's hard work and sometimes it's uncomfortable. But when you do it and you face it, like what we're doing with the writing and facing some of the experiences and hardships and challenges that we've had, it helps us, like I've said and you've said, but it's also part of the work. I think writing is like is part of the work. Now,
it,
not everybody's going to write, but you don't have to have all that worry going on 24/7. And if you do you really want it? And I always say to people that I'm working with, is it serving you? No. Do you want to change it? Well, yeah. But again, are you willing to do the work?
yeah, yes. And it's almost finding coping mechanisms as well, because with my corporate roles, I was always in communication teams. I'd run communications teams quite often with a news team. So we'd have to have the news um, channels on at all times. We'd have 3 or 4 TVs in an office and we'd have to watch. So you constantly seeing the negative stuff, but you had to learn to compartmentalize it so that it wasn't impacting everything else. And actually, then you find ways, how do you relax? How do you switch off away from that negative energy? And then I say mission hope because you've got the positives. And again, saying, can you read a part, just an excerpt from one of the volumes every single day? Because if you've been stuck in front of the negative screen for so long, and then you get the chance to come away and read something that is nurturing to your soul rather than literally bombarding you, it makes such a difference. And I think that's one of the beauties of Mission Hope as well.
I think so too. I think it's so important. And as you're talking, I'm remembering one of the writings that I did in Mission Hope. Uh, there was a time years ago that I was teaching, and it's in my chapter that I was teaching dance. Okay, I've had injuries, but I still dance. Okay, and I love to dance. And I was working at a senior center, and there were people in wheelchairs, and they said to me, what do you expect from us? I mean, we can't, and while I was writing this, and this is again your own life, I was going through a series of pain from a former injury. And but so writing it, so that they said, what do you expect from me? I said, well, I don't expect anything, but can you move your arm, your hand? Can you move your head? Can you move your elbows? If you're doing that, you're dancing. And in the chapter, and I started to cry, I might cry. It gave me the impetus to do that, to remember, okay, Joanne, maybe you can't dance today or tomorrow because you're in so much pain and you don't want to injure it anymore, but can you move your arms? Can you, and it helped me. It helped me. And again, it's a reminder to other people we don't have to be in our limitation. Yeah, there are things that we may not be able to do, but there are other ways to get around it a little bit that can be joyful, that can be helpful, that can still allow us to feel that we're doing something that's so very special or precious to us. And it may not be in the so-called normal way, but who cares? And those people at the senior center, they were dancing in their own way. I mean, we had a great time, and it was beautiful without the expectation, just, well, however you can do it, even if it's just moving your eyes, even if it's just, whatever it is, go with the joy of it, go with the feeling and embrace it. And it changed the energy. We're talking about energy. It changed the energy in the room. And as I wrote it and I was feeling sorry for myself, it changed my energy too, because it's like, okay, I can do that. And it made a difference.
And it does, and this is what I love about literature and the art of writing. I love a good fantasy novel. I can literally just, if you can take your head and just immerse yourself in the written word, and it will take you to a completely different dimension or something at times. I mean, I can remember, I think I was 8 years old at school. And it's when we were of an age when the teacher would read a book to us just before the school day finished, and he read The Hobbit to us. And I can still remember he loved it so much. He changed his voice for the different
Oh,
characters.
wow.
And I mean, when we first met Gollum and he talks about his precious and everything, and he put different enunciation on those words. And that's why I love writing, I love the art of literature, and I love to read because you can learn from it. You can read and go through an experience, or you can take yourself completely out of your current situation and literally live through someone else's experience, be it a fantasy, be it
Right.
through Mission Hope, where you can actually say, yes, they've gone through it. And this is what I love the about what writing does. It is a form of magic. It really is, because it takes you out of one area and moves you into another.
Beautifully said. I agree.
Now, I think that
So
that
now
was
we're all
channeled.
magicians. Okay.
Now that was channeled, I think, as I was saying it. I wasn't doing my menopause and what's the next word. I was thinking I know what the next sentence is, because it's sharing. And I can remember there was there was whole generations of children that stopped reading. And then when J.K. Rowling brought out all the Harry Potter books, and you think you can literally see a whole age gap where suddenly these children that are now late 20s, early 30s, they're adults now, and they still love the art of reading. With my children, my son was very hard to get him to read, but he'd read a comic, and it was still something, it was working with language, it was looking at the written word, and it's something, once you get that interest, it's like it's a muscle, isn't it? That
Right.
it's a muscle to read, a muscle to write. And again, Mission Hope comes straight back to that, where we've all gone through it, both the reader and the writer. And
Right.
it's that muscle that has to be flexed.
I agree. And sometimes with kids, because I used to teach kids and still work with families, oftentimes being able to get them excited about reading and writing is to have them go into their own lives and write something that's meaningful or make it up or whatever, to, even if they want it another way than what's happening in
Yeah.
the reality. And that brings on that sense of excitement and purpose and joy.
Yeah.
And that's really important too. It really is important. So we love changing lives. I don't know where that came from. That's probably guided too, but that's true.
And But this is what is so special. This is why I'm loving these interviews, because I think there's probably two or three little nuggets that come out in every interview, and it's those guided. You and I see it as the guidance, the
Right,
channeled thing.
right. Mm.
But again, none of that could have happened without Shah bringing together Mission Hope, because you wouldn't have been in that set mind space to actually write, and then the memories that you exert when you think about one, the actual action of writing and reliving what you went through.
Now, Shar has had many challenges in her life too. And so, again, it's courageous to
Yeah.
be able to be open and bring people together rather than, okay, I'm just going to hide somewhere, but, and and nurse my wounds. And I think that's really important because when we do that, when we are open, when we are willing to take those steps forward, not just for ourselves, maybe initially it is, but for
Yeah.
also for other people, it's it helps the transformation of others in the world. And it also, as we've been talking, helps us feel better about our lives, better
Yeah.
about who we are, and be able to take more steps forward in this adventure of life, right? We could think about it as not an adventure. I work with a client, and my client's been through a lot of challenges, and the way he starts looking at things now is like, well, it's an adventure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
That
really
is
very
that is
different
it
way
is.
of looking at what's going on, but it's an adventure. And I think and I like that phrase because when you're on an adventure, you don't know what's going to happen oftentimes, and you could face danger, you could face, you have to shift gears or whatever, but to be able to move forward regardless
Yeah.
is a beautiful thing. And I think the drive within the authors and Mission Hope in the series that it keeps going and going is also very important because it has momentum that brings more energy and more umph to other people as well as to ourselves. I mean, when we first started this, there wasn't, thank you, Pearl, coming together as a group and talking about it and sharing and whatever. And like you said, there were a couple of authors that I hadn't really met until yesterday, until we did that. And it's even as an author, you know, hearing another author's perspective or another author's story about what they went through can be very opening to us. And it's like, wow. I mean, I may have shared this, but look at what she's gone through
Yeah.
or he's gone through. And that's amazing. And I applaud all the other authors and also beautiful Shar and Dominic for being able to make this reality happen. And it is a reality.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is happening now. And the beauty is that our book, the Joy Book, is going to be coming out tomorrow.
Yes, and I've said to you, because I've got my alarm set so I can start
I got to
posting
do
bang
that
on
tonight. Right,
midnight.
right.
But it's so special. And like you said, as you were speaking then, I just got this vision of a writer's journey is very solitary. It by the nature of what the amount of people that might have a set room in their home, they might hire a cottage or something and go and write just for that, or they go out into an office that they might have in the garden or just something, loads of different things, but it's very solitary. The collaboration that Shah brings to Mission Hope means that there's that nucleus where you get the chance to interact. And by doing the panels that we've done over the last few days and that will be on the podcast exactly the same, and I will actually link some of those to Joanne's episode, so you can actually listen and see all the different ones that Joanne's taken part with. This is where it goes from being solitary to actually becoming collaboration, where you all learn and you all support each other. And I think that's what's nice as well.
I think that's very, very important. And also from the solitary to be able to bring that out into the world so that if you think about it, that if somebody else is reading it, they're with you on some level. They may not have been there while you were writing it, but they're with you now in some way, shape, or form, and you're with them in some way, shape, or form, as well as this wonderful community of authors. And that's amazing. So we're alone, but we're not alone.
Yes. And this is why, with the panel interviews, and to each of the listeners that are listening to this episode, make sure that you go back and listen to the panel interviews, because these wonderful authors read a piece of their contributing chapters from across all the volumes. And it was so lovely because not only do you get to put a voice to a face and actually start to see that personality, no one reads content as well as the person that's written it, because you feel the feelings and you know the emphasis and where to put it, because it's your life, it's what you've lived and your experience, and that is what's so special.
Although I was reading it in the dark. Again, I could see it, and I wasn't sure that that's what we were supposed to do, so I had to grab a book. So I don't know what mine sounded like.
It was brilliant. You see, this is what I loved. I mean, I was in tears quite a few times through the panels, because as people are sharing, you feel that empathy, especially you and I, we're empaths, so we will
Right.
pick up. Char's an empath. You feel the feelings that others are sharing, and so it amplifies it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and and that's important because as I was reading it, I was feeling tears, even though I was having trouble seeing it, I was feeling tears coming to my eyes because of some of what was in it. So we are also very much affected by our writing and maybe the memories that come churning up because of what we've written. And again, it's healing on all different levels, having the group being able to talk about it, being able to share it, being able to write it, and then going out into the world so that it touches others' lives. And hopefully it does more than just touch them. It can bring everything that we're writing about, the joy, the vulnerability, the ability to heal, to love, you know to feel gratitude. Um, I'm going back to forgiveness a little bit, and in my chapter there, I can't remember what I had written right now, but there was a woman whose daughter was killed by, I might cry, by her teacher, and the guy was in jail or whatever. It was a famous thing, and but when she was the mom, when she was in so much pain, she cut herself off from her family. She cut herself off from life until she would, and this also helped me too to be able to do that forgiveness thing that I talked about earlier. She finally was able to forgive him. Now, most people would say, "Why? How could you? That's ridiculous. Why didn't you carry that? Why didn't you?" And what she said, sorry,
Yeah, yeah, I'm thinking, yes, I can relate to that.
right, right, right. But what she said was when she was able to do that, Pearl, it brought her so much peace.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't change the situation, and she was still angry to some extent as to what happened, and it would never bring her daughter back. But the peace, and rather than the isolation and all the turbulence and anger and hatred that was going on in her body and her head, shifted so that she was able to heal, to move forward. And I shared that because, again, it helped me,
Yeah.
but also it's something to think about. I remember doing a workshop years ago, and this woman, young woman, stood up. We were talking about forgiveness too at that point. Stood up and she said, "Well, I was molested by somebody, and the anger and the hatred just was expansive through the room." And I was kind of in shock. I'm running the workshop, and I'm thinking to myself, that how does that help you?
Yeah.
That anger, it turns horrible within you,
Yeah.
and it does something like it did with that woman whose daughter, was killed. Rather, and again, when you forgive somebody, it's not making it right. It
No.
doesn't mean that, oh, I just embrace you with open arms. No, I will never see you again. Thank you very much. Bye. But it doesn't mean that you carry
Yeah.
that torturous aspect that's doing that torture to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's important because many people have been through hardships and anger and things of abuse, whatever. And again, forgiveness may not be for that other person, but it's for yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's part of that chapter that I wrote too. And it's really important to recognize that we have a choice
Yeah.
in life. And many people think we don't, but we have a choice in terms of, are we going to look at joy, or are we going to just look at all the horror that's going on? Are we going to look at forgiveness, or are we going to just be angry and blame? Are we going to, look at gratitude, or are we going to just feel all the things that we don't, and those are options and choices that we have. And hopefully Mission Hope brings that up to people to be able to say, wait a minute, I'd rather be grateful than see all the lack. I'd rather have love than see where and I think again, that's so important to everybody that reads these books and that connects with us on the panels, because they get to also make those choices that we've had to make in our own lives.
Wow. Wow. That now that is a perfect place to finish this interview. I've just seen the time. I could have talked to you all afternoon, but
I've done the same.
and it is just so special. It just leaves me to say a massive thank you, and
Thank you.
to reach out and say, Joanne, would you please be a regular guest on the podcast? Because I think you've got so much to share
I
with the
would love
listeners.
it. Thank you.
So
And
each
thank you to all our listeners, because I hope that from just not only this interview, but from reading the series of Mission Hope series, that you also feel the enthusiasm and the connection and the shifts that we have gone through and that we offer to you.
that is absolutely brilliant. And I will just add that I keep the comments open on the episodes that we upload. So if there's something that you're moved by, please share it with us in the comments. If you want to reach out and send a message to any of the authors that we've interviewed, please do that via the comments, because it would be great to have that feedback, because it shows that we've all grown and we've learned. And these wonderful authors have helped us in so many ways. So thank you once again, Joanne. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
My pleasure, Pearl. Thank you for having me, and you are beautiful.
So are you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Pearls of Wisdom podcast. We hope you have enjoyed the content shared. Please share with others who would like to enjoy these interviews and discussions. If you would like to support the podcast, please follow the link in the episode description. If you want to be a guest on the show, reach out and let's discuss next steps. Until the next time, enjoy your listening.